Welcome back to my channel. This is Opal Unicorn. I do videos on spiritual concepts such as astrology, medicine animals, oracle cards, meditation, and consciousness. And today I would like to continue our conversation about owls. Most specifically, the number of hoots an owl makes and what it means. What does it symbolize? And what is the owl trying to communicate in more specifics with you in a deeper level? So before we begin, I would like to clear the energy in our space with sixth chakra sound. Clear the energy and be attuned and ready to reconnect with owl. So throughout millennia and through many ancient civilizations, owl has been a very powerful symbol. And in another video, I'd like to talk about that. But I just wanted to touch base on that because it is something so important in our understanding of the power and the energized feeling we get when we have an owl visitation. Unlike many other animals, all of them having special meanings and symbols and messages for us, owl has a very charged, very super powerful, intense feeling when we have a visitation from the owl, especially when we are all of a sudden met with an encounter with an owl. Something about their intense eyes and the energy they have has given an explanation of wonderment and mystery throughout all time. And because of that, there's even lots of mythology around the hoots of an owl and the numbers associated with the hoots. Because many of you who have left comments on here have had experiences with owls. Some have had hooting, a lot of hooting, incessant hooting, or a certain amount of hooting. And that's why it's important to pay attention to everything that is around you when you're having this experience with the owl. Because in ancient times, when they would read omens about different animals and the prophecies or energy or the decided factors of what would happen, they would take into consideration all the variables, all the many different little details that were associated with the encounter of such animal. And in this particular video, we are going to be talking about the specific amounts and numbers associated with an owl. As many of you know, who love owls and who have had beautiful, very powerful, mysterious, incredible experiences with these incredible magical beings, many times there's patterns to the way they hoot. And sometimes it's a pattern of 1 or 2 or 3 hoots, and it's in a repetition. And they may do this for a while before they fly away or they stay silent on their perch. These numbers all have something, and throughout the ages, these numbers have represented different things to different societies and mythologies. Today, I want to share some of these mythologies with you, and I'm hoping that you can consider these when you have your owl experiences and that perhaps it will help give some light on what the message that the owl is trying to give you. Because my belief, and the belief of many of you who have left comments and who have participated in sharing your incredible stories of wonderment and awe around your tales of owls, are that you may have been in a hard place in life, or you may have had something going on that you didn't know the answer to, and then out of nowhere an owl would come and give you a message. And these messages are here for us to decipher. Birds are considered the messengers of the gods, and in particular, owl has a very particular message of the unknown. And in many cultures, there's a lot of different associations with what that might mean. So to get started, I would like to start with the number 1. 1 hoot. 1 hoot is considered a warning or an indication of impending danger. In some cultures, a single hoot from an owl might be taken as a sign of death or bad news. Now, when you hear 1 owl hooting, I don't want you to freak out and think the worst is going to happen, or any of these messages that I'm getting from my research on different societies and cultures. But it is interesting to pay attention to these things and see if there is some association with this and something in your life. I really value the concept of 3. When 3 things come to us, messages come to us in different ways, but it's the same message. Whether it's a friend or someone you're talking to, you saying something, or seeing something on the television or the radio or on the internet, or hearing a song that says it. When you have a pattern of 3, that is a great indicator that there is a sign something may be happening, and for you to be aware of your surroundings and your environment. And with that said, I would strongly suggest that you use the concept of the 3, the trifecta, the trilogy, the 3, to know what these symbols mean for you. And so if an owl hoots once, pay attention to possible danger. So if an owl hoots twice, sometimes seen as a sign of good fortune, of success. In some beliefs, it might mean that something important is about to be happening and be seen. And so pay attention to this. If an owl is hooting, and sometimes the owl will be hooting and it will hoot once, and then once again, and then once again. Or it might hoot twice, and then twice again, and then twice again. The intensity of the message, the amount of times, the other signs that you're seeing around you at this time, the other types of synchronicities that might be happening with you at this time, all have something to do with these messages. 3 hoots. In some interpretations, 3 hoots might mean a woman is going to marry into a family. So this is an old tradition, and we may take this literally and think maybe I'm going to meet, or I'm going to be connected to a family of some sort, or I'm going to find some type of structure or stability in my life, or I'm going to get a stroke of luck in the area of relationships. And so there's a lot of ways that you can extrapolate some of these old myths and these old omens and the way they used them in their lives to modern day prophecy and omens. So these are some of the ways I would interpret 3 hoots. But I would also like to add, for me personally, 3 is a very powerful number, as I was saying, the power of 3, the law of 3. And if you are getting a hoot of an owl 3 times, I would also look at something coming to a perfect understanding and a spiritual connection of balance and of connecting of the 3, of the triangle, and the concept of the pyramid, and the energies that come in the form of 3s. And so 4 hoots, this can be interpreted as a sign of spiritual or physical change or upheaval. It might take as if more severe warning about something that will significantly impact one's life. Now, 4 is usually associated with family and numerology and structure. So the idea of 4 hoots might have something to do with the home, might have something to do with family. So these are some of my takes on some of these old mythologies and myths. Number 5. 5 hoots could be a significant sign relating to life changes or profound revelations. Number 5 is usually a number of that takes a front seat in something. It's when it takes center stage. It can be a windfall. It can be a very impactful shift and change in our lives. Also, the continuous hooting of an owl. Let's say there is no number associated with it, but just a continuous hooting that goes on and on and on. Now, this could still have a repetition of a number associated with it, but if you take the continuous hooting and the number of the repetition that the hooting is in, it could give you more insight on what this message is about. Also, what can happen is sometimes the owl can do 3 hoots, and then it can do 5 hoots, and then it can do 2 hoots, but it's constantly in continuation. And with that, I would take a lot of these numbers and compile them together and see if all of these things are impacting the message of what the owl is bringing to you that day. So if an owl is continuously hooting for a prolonged period, it might be interpreted as a sign that the spirit world is trying to deliver a message to you. So I would believe this is true in all cases when it comes to owls, because owls are a very, very special bird of the spirit world. So I would take that into consideration regardless of what the association of this owl meeting is, because an encounter with an owl seems to have a very strong spiritual impact on us, and that is not to be taken lightly, but to try to extrapolate from your environment, like I have said, to build a bigger picture on what the message is that the owl is bringing to you at this time. So number 6. 6 hoots would be a warning or a message concerning domestic affairs or family matters. It could be something to do with number 6 being a number of your day-to-day activities and your daily routines. This number may have something to do with a change in your daily routines, on your schedule, or the way that you live your daily life. 7 hoots is considered a mystical or spiritually significant number, and so therefore if you're getting the number 7 in a hoot, continuous hooting, it could be something to do with a message of spiritual enlightenment, getting a spiritual download, an informational download from the spirit world. 8 hoots could be a sign of wealth or material matters, prosperity coming one's way, or possible change in one's status. So these are old mythologies of the hoots, but I would also add, and also it could be disruption and chaos. And the number 8 is associated with money and prosperity and riches and physical finances and value, but it is also connected with disruption and chaos and pain and suffering. So it's all the way you want to look at these numbers. It's really good to pay attention, because the way owl in particular may communicate with you is going to be special. It's going to be unique. It's going to be a way for the owl to connect with you on an individual energetic signature basis. And so what energetic signature you have is going to align with the bird and his spiritual energetic signature. And so the way these numbers come to you will all be different, but it's really interesting to pay attention and notice, like I've been saying, because you never know how these messages may be given to you. Number 9. 9 hoots represents a completeness or the fulfillment of a cycle. In some mythologies, 9 could be an ending or a conclusion to a particular phase or event. So I would say that this makes a lot of sense for me. 9 is the number in the astrological house. The ninth house is the house of knowledge and philosophy, but it's also a time of starting to go into the underworld. As we start to cycle out, we begin to cycle into a different life, into a different cycle. So it is the end of an era, an end of a time in your life. And this is really good to think about when, even if you're looking at your astrology chart and you're looking at the transits, and if you have any ninth house transits, to think about what is coming to an end, what things in your life are wrapping up. Do you feel the shifts and changes of the winds of time coming upon you? And is Owl visiting you at this time? Does he have an extra message for you? And is this something that you can bring for you, some wisdom and enlightenment to your current situation? And finally, 10 hoots. 10 hoots might be rare and considered highly significant, possibly indicating major life changes or transformative events. It would be completion of something. It would be the rounding out of something that would be very powerful and might be also thought of as the 10th house in astrology being connected to the energy of being on stage and being seen for something. It could be that you're finally being acknowledged for something that you have been working hard on, or your career, or something of that nature. So it would be very interesting to pay attention to these things and see if they have any correlation with your own life and your own things that you're going through. And number 10 could emphasize the completion of an important cycle and the imminent start of a new one as well. But that again, when you reach the highest form, the peak of success, as the number 10 represents, it can also always mean that you are going to be now faced with a new step and a new life journey. So our messages have a symbolic value. These symbolic values are special to those of us who connect with the medicine animals and paying attention to signs and omens of the animal world and how they connect with us. Because we are all part of an energetic field. We are all part of something greater and bigger than us. And we are all, in a sense, one and connected. And we all play a part in this, as all animals play a part in this role. And as we know, the owl plays a very, very important part of this for us, for our messages and for our understanding of the subconscious realm, and looking at it through the lens of numbers and the repetition of numbers and the cycle of numbers. It's all very interesting to begin to put these things together and get a better sense of what the world around us and what the energy around us is meaning to convey to us, and what energies are we sending out in return to these messages that come to us. It's also interesting to note that on a scientific level, owls hooting usually have something to do with territory or mating or communicating with their babies. There are many scientific reasons for owls hooting, but when we take into consideration the larger aspect of how animal medicine works, we know that all the synchronicities and all the things that animals bring to us have something more to say, especially when there is something of note. Even a small detail like an owl flying through the sky as you are driving, or an owl hooting once and flying away, or something of that nature. It is something to take note of. It is something to pay attention to, of the signs and the energies of the upcoming day and week. So I hope this was helpful, and I thank you so much all for your wonderful comments and questions on my last owl video. I would love to get some more feedback on this one and know if there are any type of other owl suggestions you might have for me. I have some to look at from the last video, and I'd love to do a Q&A on some of these because so many of you have these incredible owl stories. Or if any of you want to share any more of your owl stories, please share them in the comment section. Please share with the community, because it seems like there's something very important and special about coming together and talking about these owl experiences. And there's so much more that we can talk about when it comes to owls, and I hope to make more of these videos in my owl series and delve deep into all the nuances of the mythology and history and different spiritual and consciousness aspected connections and synchronicities associated with owl, and what it means to us and what it means to have this experience and what it means to not have them if you haven't had them for a while. Does it mean that you're going on the right path? Does it mean that you have gotten the memo? Are other animals coming to you now instead of the owl? What animals are showing up in your life? Are there combinations of animals coming into your life? These are all things I'd love to discuss. Please let me know in the comments if these are things that are of interest to you, and what other ideas you guys may have for me to talk about and research for you. And I would love it if you could please subscribe to my channel and let me know of anything that you would like. And also I will put my contact information if you have any questions or stories you'd like to share with me. I am going to be putting my email and my contact information in the comment section. So thank you so much for watching. This is Opal Unicorn. Please remember to like and subscribe, and to leave any messages that you would like to share on your journey with animals and any other types of spiritual concepts that you would like to share. Bye for now.